Coach's Timeout with Nigel and Christophe, the podcast.
Welcome to the first episode of the Coach's Podcast. Coach's Timeout the Podcast. All right, there you go. And my name is Nigel Tolentino. I'm the head coach of the Sheeran Black Frogs. And my co-host is none other than Coach Christophe Nye, who is the head coach of Arancia La Rochelle. How are you doing today, Christophe?
Yeah, I'm fine. How are you?
Oh, nervous, excited. You know, this has been something that we've been talking about for quite some time. Okay, let's start off with some Luxembourg basketball news. What do we have today? Today's Sunday. We're recording on a Sunday. So last I checked, there's Ben Kovac, 12 points at 22 minutes average and 4-0 with his team in Den Helder Suns. So shout out, Ben. And there's also the big news that the FLBB communicated to all the clubs on Friday. Was that Friday?
Yeah, Friday.
Okay. Well, basically they said that there's going to be a cancellation for the promotion and demotion for National 1 and National 2, right?
Yeah, that's correct. So basically, no teams will be relegated this season. And on the other hand, no teams can promote from National 2 to National 1 or from National 3 to National 2. But from what I've heard, there are different models to be discussed for the next season in order to give those teams from National 2 a chance to compete on the higher level. And several models are currently being discussed. One goes in the direction of what the FLBB proposed already last summer with a 20-team league. This has to be seen. I mean, the consequences are that, at least from what I've heard, is that several teams now will play without pro players in National 1 for the remainder of the season. Others will continue to play with pro players and will be quite different from what we have been used to over the last years.
Okay, well, I assume there's going to be two sides to this discussion, but I'm pretty sure that decision did not come out lightly, or they did not arrive at that decision lightly. You know, but in the face of this pandemic, safety first.
Yeah, I mean, over the last weeks there have been multiple discussions, and also the FLBB made several proposals already how to restart the season. And with the ongoing pandemic, not everything goes as planned, and we still have to see. I mean, the first official games in the women's league will start pretty soon, and the men's league will only start after the national team break. So we're going to see. Hopefully, the season can come to an end this year, and with all the games being played. But it's nothing is sure in those times.
That's true. Well, one thing is for sure, I am very happy that we have this first guest with us today. He is basically a multiple-time Cup and League winner, both as head coach and as a player. And he is currently the national team head coach of Luxembourg basketball. So welcome, Coach Ken Diederich.
Good evening. Hi.
How you doing, man? You good?
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good.
All right. Okay. Well, I was asking Christophe about the pandemic and how the restart is happening. How are you doing with your T71 and your national team duties as well?
Well, with the T71, we started back up 3 weeks ago. So we are making progress. We're getting better. We were lucky enough to have the same Americans back, the same professionals. So things look pretty good. Guys were in decent shape. It seems like they've done something. So I think that we're almost ready to restart the season. National team, obviously we had a window in November. We finished in November 28th, I believe, against Slovakia. So we about to start back up next Friday and have another window in Kosovo. So a bit different because we haven't played in 3 months now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna be more difficult because the other countries are playing. So for us, it's gonna be quite a challenge.
All right. Well, since I have two National One head coaches here on this podcast at the moment, I just want to ask, like, in terms of growth, like quality and I don't know, media exposure as well as international recognition, I think Luxembourg basketball has been taking its steps going forward. What else do you think can we do as a country or as as a league to continue with that upward trajectory? Yeah, start with
Um,
you.
yeah, I mean, we gotta send as many players to different countries. That's gonna be uh, unfortunately, I know you coaches or players are not recognized by wins in the league. So you're gonna have to do well internationally. That's why we have to. At some point, we're gonna have to play Euro Cup again or play some international competition. And then obviously the national team does a great deal of that. I think that we've been playing really well the last 4 or 5 years. I have coaches talking to me about this, and we do get recognition. But on the league level, yeah, you have to play Euro Cup. You have to play the national in order to get to get respect.
Mhm. Christophe, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how it was for you, Ken, but the last summer I got several calls from agents who asked me to get a little bit to know more about the Luxembourg League because they see that more and more former pros that have played in Luxembourg play on higher level in Germany, in France, and so on. And they asked me where they can follow this league a little bit more. And therefore, the live streams that will hopefully would now work when the season restarts, that can be something that helps to get at least a more media following from abroad as well. So because all the games should be available for anyone in the world, and yeah, that might help for also for other countries and agents and players to get a better idea of how basketball looks like over here.
Yeah, I agree. I think that we have to use that platform that was given to us by RTL to broadcast our game a little bit more. I think that's going to be huge. You're totally right about that. I think that's going to be a great way to promote our league and our basketball.
All right. Well, you were mentioning the bubble experience that you had in November, Coach Ken, and you are going to be entering another bubble in the February window. What are your views on basically Lux basketball normally being overlooked? Thoughts and expectations going into February?
Well, I mean, we will not be overlooked again in that bubble, in that group, because we basically were able. Well, we beat Slovakia, but we should have beaten Kosovo, and we had a great chance to beat even Iceland. I think we were up at the halftime, so we were competing with those guys. I think that no game is against Luxembourg is easy for those teams anymore. I think we did a great job. I really want to congratulate my players and the federation how we evolved the last years. I think that we've been very competitive. Now you point on the bubble, it's different because you basically enter that bubble, that hotel. You have to check in with a scanner, and you can't get out unless you scanned out or scanned in. So you are not able to leave the hotel. The only time you're leaving is for the practices twice a day, and then also for the games, obviously. But that's later in the week. So we usually get there like 3-4 days early, have a good practice camp, and then you play your games. But it's nothing but basketball. So you basically have a couple of practices a day and a video session, and then you prepare for the game. It's only basketball. You concentrate only on basketball, which could be a great thing, but anything more than 1 week would be very difficult. So in a situation like that.
I see. Yeah. Well, I was going to mention as well that Lux has been a fighting team for the past 4 years, 4 or 5 years, since you started actually handling the team. And the last window, like you said, we were up at half, and then you were basically shots went in second game, and won that league, won that game. I mean, coming from behind, and that was really great to see all the young guys coming in. My question is like, what is the level of comfortability and confidence of the team heading into February?
Yeah, the confidence is high, but that's also a trap or a problem, because if you think that at this level you can just succeed or be in the game with 80% or 90%, you are mistaken. Like if we don't give ourselves 100%, if we don't have the team chemistry, if we don't play the perfect game, we will not beat those opponents. If you look at the game against Slovakia, we hit 11 threes, we only had 11 turnovers, we played an outstanding defense, and we were winning the rebounding battle against those giants. So I think that for us to compete, we have to play really well, and to win a game at this level, we have to be perfect. We know that. So
I have an additional question here. How big is the impact of having added additional assistant coaches and video guys to the team? What is the impact of this compared to what you had before?
Huge. I think that when I started in 2016, we had one assistant coach and we had a team manager. I'm the physio, of course, but now, over the years, we demanded more, and we got it from the federation. So we have now Pitt, who does the video. He's really good at it, so we have great scouting. We have Dennis, who's very, very experienced at international level, was a great player and also a great coach. So we are expanding it, and I think it helps the team a great deal, and also myself, because I can sometimes sit back and look things differently, and have Pitt cut me some video, cut players some video. We even have an app for the players where they can watch at any point. They can watch their highlights or the opponent's game sets. So we've done great strides in that area. Yes, helps
That's
a lot.
great. That's really great to hear. Is there, personal question, is there a big difference in how you coach national team and let's say a club team, your club team, or are you
Yes.
still the same?
No, it's a huge difference. The difference is that in Luxembourg you can get away with mistakes sometimes, because obviously the level is not as high, and internationally every substitution, every missed timeout, every little thing can cost you the game. So I don't know if you followed the games, but if you watch the Slovakia game, we played really well, and we were basically at the end, we had to manage the game. We had to call timeouts. We had to move the ball up. We had to get the ball into good free throw shooters' hands. We had just a bunch of stuff because those guys were coming at us really hard. Like nobody wants to lose Luxembourg, because we actually talked to their press after the game, and for them it was devastating for the Federation of Slovakia. And the same was said from Kosovo or from Great Britain or from Cyprus. So it's nobody wants to lose or is allowed to lose to Luxembourg, So yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to circle back to the national team in a little bit. For now, I just want to talk about when you were playing. You were a decorated player. You won accolades. You won championships, and you won cups. Was playing for the national team something that you aspired to be or aspired to do when you were a player?
It was different. I played. I don't know, a few years. I stopped and I came back. So it was a few stints out with the national team, but it was different. Just can't compare it anymore. Back then, we didn't have enough players. It wasn't professional. The federation wasn't as organized. The players were not as serious as our players are right now. And basketball evolved. I think that you can't compare it. I'm reading all those, or hearing all those comments, and people talking back in the days. It just can't be compared anymore. You told me when I was playing, and that's been now. I stopped in 2011, I believe. Mm-hmm. So it's been 10 years now, actually, anniversary. So it's been a long time. It was different. It was one American. It was a different game. It was not the same pace. It was just completely different. And the same can be said about the national team. I mean, Christophe, you played a while back as well, so you can probably also tell us, what you think about the changes. But I think it's quite different.
Yeah, it was different times. I mean, I played on different level than you played, but on the lower levels it was even, I guess, worse than on the top. But based on that, it's a question I always wanted to ask you or anyone else of our generation. Is not so many players from our generation are still active somewhere as a coach or in committees or whatever. They're basically just a handful or so. Do you have an idea why it is like that, or?
That's a good question. I don't know. I think that some came back with their kids, I guess. Some have kids now, and maybe they come back as youth coaches. But to invest yourself in a club, and you know that as well, is it's very dead. You have to dedicate yourself almost completely, and so to have a job and to do basketball full time is very different. It's very difficult, I think, because it's gotten a lot more professional. It's a lot more practices, more practice 4 or 5 times a week compared to 3 or 4. More games, and the reason is I'm not sure what's the reason. I really can't answer that question. That's a good question.
All right. There was a very short turnaround period for you after you stopped playing, and then you shifted into a coach's role. Was there also a major shift in mindset when you stepped into coaching?
Well, I took a year off. I did some work for TV, and then I always planned to coach. So my dad was a coach for a long time, and I always wanted to coach, but I wanted to wait for the right opportunity. And I was lucky enough that Steinsel gave me that opportunity to start with a great team like Steinsel. So for us, for me personally, this was a great chance, and I was fortunate to have that opportunity to have a team and the players I did in Steinsel. So that was definitely a bit of luck involved that I got the job. So again, the turnaround was not too short. I thought I was ready. I took a year off, and I was ready to coach.
Yeah, you look ready. I mean, you were in all those rivalries at the top of the league. So, all right. We'll be talking more about the national team and the players involved with the national team and everything else with Coach Ken after take a short break. All right. So stay right there.
Coach's Timeout with Nigel and Christophe, the podcast.
All right, we are back with Coach Ken Diederich, and Coach, you were talking about Steinsel and the opportunity and the team that you had there. What are your fondest memories of your tenure or your run in Steinsel?
Obviously, we've the trophies we won were nice, but I remember that first year I coached when we had we lost the finals to T71, but we had that young squad with Bobby and Alex coming up at 17, 18 years old, and we had one American injured, and we went to the finals. We won American, and we lost to T71, but I felt like that was a very fun year. It's the year that I think that we did a great job, and the job was just as good as the time we won the title. So that first year was a very good year, I thought, with all the adversity we had, and then of course the titles were all nice. I think that the first one, for Steinsel in what was it, 30 years or 29 years, we won the cup against Conton. I remember that was a good feeling because they lost so many finals before that, or we did lose some too. So that was nice to finally be able to win something and finish the job.
And well, you mentioned Alex. He was 18 coming in when you started coaching him, and now he's one of the pillars of our national team. Can you talk a little bit about his progression from the time that he was with you until he left for to turn pro? Like what big differences do you see in his game, or similar, or what things remain the same?
He's a captain. He's our captain for the national team now for the last years. And he's somebody who has the mind of a professional. He's gotten better, and I think it helped him a lot to leave because in the environment of the total league, with the 2 Americans being ball dominant, it helped him to find his game, and to go through some tough times. And now I think he found a great league for him in Austria, where he's playing really well on a good team. He's somebody who works. He's a hard worker. He's full of talent. He can play multiple positions, and he has a mindset like not many other Luxembourgers. So he's obviously one of the most important guys on our team. He's a professional through and through.
Okay, when you got the call, Ken, national team needs you. Was there ever any hesitation on your end?
No. I mean, that's I started with the under 20 for a few years, and the goal was always to coach the national team. So that was my dream to do that, to change something, to change all the things that I didn't like when I was playing, or all those things, to change that and change the culture, to just to build something up with young players, and to have players wanting to come play national team again. That's the biggest thing that we achieved the last years. Everybody wants to play for the national team, and we have a lot of players who want to play and unfortunately I have to cut a few, but that's part of being a coach.
Mm-hmm.
You're for a coach, you're still pretty young, I would say. And I was, yeah, it's true.
Hey, yeah, we are always.
Yeah, no, but what I was wondering was like those results that you do right now with the national team. Does that help you grow your profile like internationally? Do you get like calls from abroad? Do you want to be coach here? Or because I mean, in Luxembourg, you more or less have reached everything already. And so, is that the challenge that you would be looking up to, or how's your opinion about that?
Yeah, I mean, the only way to get out of Luxembourg, I think, is to succeed internationally. And yeah, there were some opportunities, but I was hesitant because I have a great situation here with my job, and I have to deal with the federation. I work limited hours. I could concentrate on basketball. So there's a lot of things that are very good here for me. But to improve and to get better, yeah, I would have to try to go abroad. But like you just said, it has to be a great fit. Has to be a good situation, and the wins or the great results we had definitely help out. If we beat opponents, I do get messages from, for example, a guy like Joe Prunty, who coached the Bucks, who is now coaching the US national team in the pre-qualifiers. I have some contacts that you remain with. Obviously, when you play those teams, just try to stay in contact. So it is a good situation. But to leave, like I always say, Luxembourg is a very good country to live in. We have a good situation here, and to leave situation here, especially now with the virus, it has to be a good opportunity, and those are very difficult to get, I have to admit. So to leave here, you'd have to start low and work your way up again, and that's depending on if you want that or not.
But do you think from a coach's perspective, a model like we have for the professional players with the army, do you think that would be something helpful also on the coach's side?
Yeah, why not? I mean, that's a good idea. I think that if you get some aid by the government, yeah, that would be something that would be worth trying, I guess. But again, like you said, it's to get coaching jobs internationally is difficult. It's difficult. Okay, so yeah, I had a few offers, but none of them were that exciting, for me to leave and to give up my job and my house, and so it's very difficult for me to leave. It would have to be a situation where I could also evolve personally. So it would have to be a different climate. It would have to be a bigger city. It would have to be a situation where I would have both basketball and also a different environment in Luxembourg. Yeah.
Okay.
If I could choose a country, I would like to see Australia. So if somebody from Australia listens to the podcast, hey, I am interested.
I thought you were going to say the Philippines, because then this would be big over there.
We can do the Philippines. They have a good basketball league over there.
Hey, when you said that, when I read this online, I want to put Luxembourg on the basketball map. I was like, oh hell yeah, let's go. What prompted you to say that? Like, what inspired you to say something like that, and to be able to back it up with how the national team has been performing the past couple of years?
Just because I think that we undersell ourselves. Like, I was tired of stepping on the floor as a player or always saying that we can't beat nobody. Like the games we played, we were often beat very handily. Just look at Slovakia. Slovakia beat us usually about 30 to 50 points. We have that history with the Rodniak brothers, and we have Banu Slovakia, and Luxembourg and Slovakia has a great history. And I think that 5 years ago, or I don't know, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, there was nobody thought that Luxembourg could beat Slovakia. And I think that for us as a coach and the players, we were just tired of just being beat and having no chance. And I think that if you believe in something, and if you have the right mindset, the right attitude, and you play the right way, good things will happen. We show that. I mean, we are winning games. We are getting the respect, and I think we are not done yet because we have young players. We have a young team.
Speaking of youth, one of the most vivid memories I have coaching has been like with you in Sofia, we were facing Russia, and everyone would have given them a 100-point win over us, like easy, right? And then we were there. We were three open shots away from upsetting Russia. And some of these young guys on that team, on that under-20 team, are now main players in your national team pool. And I really like that they were able to ascend that, or to take that next level step.
Yeah, I mean that's the way it should be. I think that the under-20 program is, in my opinion, the most important program for the senior level. Like let's say we have about 25 players selected on our roster for the men's team, and I believe 21 played on the under-20 team. Okay, so almost everybody went through the under-20 before they play with the men, and I have to of course make a selection what I think fits best. There's more players out there, but I have to pick and choose what I think is best, to replace. And you mentioned all the young guys who are stepping up, and going back to the Russian game, I think that's, for example, a situation where we earned a lot of respect, because I remember I went to that meal afterwards, and all the coaches were telling me, oh, if we'd have beaten Russia, that would have been the biggest upset ever in the under-20 tournament. So, and the Russians, the Russian coach, I still have contact with him. He's assistant coach for CSKA Moscow. He's their first assistant, and he definitely, you remember the way they looked at us before the game and the way they came up after the game. So that was a huge difference, like they now know where Luxembourg is, and that was a nice. It was a loss, but losing by 2 points to Russia, I think, is definitely also an achievement.
Yeah, I remember looking at you after the game. You were like, "Can you imagine if we would actually have won this game?" And you were like, "Damn, let's not go there."
Yeah, but we gave away.
We gave them a scare. Yeah, but we gave them a hell of a scare.
Them, so.
Okay, you're talking about youth, but before we go to the young guys that are on the team, I want to talk about. Well, I think he is basically the oldest tenured player of the national team at the moment. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Thomas Grun.
Yeah, Thomas is he's been there from the start with me. He and also Joey and Alex, and they've been always there, and they've been steady there since 2016. Thomas evolved. I mean, him and Alex are the leaders of the team. I think that Thomas plays at a very high level every day. He's right now he's having a great season in Trier. He's our co-captain with Alex. He's, in my opinion, he's a great defender. He improved his shot a lot, and he has all the experience. He's somebody who works hard, who wants to learn, who improves every year, and he's definitely one of the reasons why I succeeded in the national team. I think that Thomas is a big part of
that. One other mainstay at the point guard position, Sticky. I really love his game. Like he is, I think, one of the cerebral point guards in Luxembourg at the moment. Like, what can you say about him?
Yeah, he represents, what we are all about. I think he maybe doesn't look that big, but he has a huge heart. He's somebody who's not scared to take a big shot. He's a great guy, works hard, and he's somebody who we can rely on. I think that's important. We can rely on each other. If you don't have at that level, if we're not a group that sticks together, and if our team chemistry is not better than the opponents, we don't have a chance. And Sticky is always positive. He can make big shots. He improved his defense. He's selfless. So yeah, I mean, he's still a young player. So Sticky is definitely somebody that will be a big part of the future for the national team.
Christophe, you have something for Coach Ken there?
Yeah, I mean, one problem that always was there with the national team was lack of size. And with the addition of Clancy Rock, of course, that was also a big plus. But with the game also today being played more like small, you don't need that big post presence anymore. How do you see the importance though of Clancy, and also Xavier, who is in the training camp with you? How much does that help?
A lot. The first thing you said is the game is played differently. That's true. Like, I want to say 10 years ago, they were starting with 2-3 people, 2 meters 10, 2 meters 8, and now everybody's playing a bit smaller. It's a bit more positionless. And a guy like Clancy is perfect for the basketball I want to play, and also for the game that is played internationally. He's a 4 but he can play the 5. He can guard bigger people, and he can shoot the ball. So he's somebody that fits in. It's a perfect player for our team, and he was able to win his first game with us now against Slovakia. We did win 3 before without him, so I think that he helps a great deal, but we have to learn how to play with him. The first couple of games he was with us, we maybe passed him the ball too much because we had, I had too much. He's the American, and he has to do it all, and we've gotten away from that. So he fits in well. Xavier was the initial plan to have him. Got him a passport. I met him in Sarajevo in 2014. He played with the Belgium under-20, and we heard that he has Luxembourg's passport. So I contacted him, and we brought him over. So Xavier is also a great guy, and he lives in Luxembourg now, and I think he's a great help for us if Clancy is injured or for the small Olympics. We would go with those 2 players. But again, Clancy, in my opinion, is a player that has a level to play much higher than here. I think that I don't understand why a guy like him doesn't play in higher league. But I mean, that's a choice you have to make. He has a good club in National. They are winning. So I think he has to make that choice. And right now with the pandemic, I think Luxembourg is not the worst choice for the American.
And one big thing about Clancy is he loves to play for Luxembourg. It shows.
Yeah.
Shows.
And it's unbelievable. This guy is dedicated. He speaks the language. He's somebody that fits right in. I can't think of another guy who would do it better. He reminds me a lot of Billy McDaniel. I think he has the same attitude. He's a great person, great teammate, and he works his ass off. I mean, on top of that, he's a great player. So I think that he's the MVP of Luxembourg for all those reasons.
You mentioned that there's a lot of players who now want to play for the national team. What catches your eye, basically, when looking for players to add to the training pool?
Well, we need athletic ability. That's what's rare in Luxembourg. We need that speed, that athletic ability, and we need shooting. Those are the 2 things that are very important, especially if you're a guard, or a wing. You got to be able to shoot the ball. Now, even as a big these days, you got to be able to stick to open 3. But of course, the attitude. Okay, you have to buy in. You have to be a good teammate. You have to agree with the culture, I guess. We changed that whole thing. I remember when I was playing, things were different. People were more vacationing sometimes than playing basketball, and that's something that's not the goal, and that's completely changed.
I see. Great. You also mentioned that you want more players to go abroad to learn there and then come back and bring whatever they learn into the national team. And one of these young players is Ben Kovac. Him and Ivan Delgado in the last game against Slovakia, they were playing crunch time minutes. They were playing 4th quarter minutes. And to me, that was it was really nice to see them perform and be in that stage composed in the 4th quarter when you're neck and neck with Slovakia. Is there anything that you have to say to these 2 guys or to guys like these, or is it just innate in them now that they're just going to go out there and compete?
Yeah, Ivan, he flipped that switch last year. We took him to Montenegro, and he was part of the team, but he was not really part of the team. I told him that, I thought you were there, but he was kind of absent with his mind, and he did a complete turnaround those last 15, 16 months. He's now a professional. He did the army thing, and he bought in completely. He's a huge pillar of the team, and he did a good job at the end against Slovakia. But I had no doubts that he would, because I saw him practice and I saw his mindset. So we were not scared to put him in. And with Ben is used to the pressure. Ben has played a lot of international games. I think he's played national team for the last, 8-9 years. He's been to every tournament. He's playing basketball all his life, and he grew up in the gym. When I was playing in Ash, my last year, he was always in the gym doing his homework, because his dad was at the bar, the gym, or the restaurant, I should say, and Ben was always in the gym. So he's a gym rat, and he lives to play basketball. So I'm not surprised that he was able to compete. And imagine beating your home country. It's kind of cool, to go into Slovakia and beat his dad's country.
I might have a follow-up question on Ivan Delgado. So as you mentioned, he's a pro now after having done the army thing. So where do you see him play? I mean, what is the perfect league for him to start as a pro eventually next season?
Yeah, I mean, I was hoping for him to get something like in Holland or something, Holland, or maybe he with his Portuguese passport, like Cape Verdean passport, maybe something in Portugal. I'm not sure, it's difficult, but again, the army gives you that extra money, so you can go abroad, with that help. I think it's possible for him, but he needs to keep working and keep playing the way he plays, and he's going to find a job. But of course, it's difficult. With Ben had the advantage that he, like I said, he played all those under 18, under 16, under 20.
He had a profile
really,
already.
really. He had a profile. He does. People know him because of those under championships. And for Ivan, I thought the last year was very valuable to him, and also the last couple of games where he showed that he can play the nationally. So he needs to take an agency, and somebody has to help him, and then hopefully somebody will put some faith in him, and so he can train like a professional and go somewhere where the basketball is more professional than here.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Is there any player that you're coaching right now in the national team that reminds you of yourself when you were playing?
No. I think that I read that question when you asked me. I can't. I think those guys are better. I think from the national team. I think that they are.
That's a safe answer, Ken. I think you can beat them in a 3-point shootout.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean I'm a better player. So
yeah.
I think, like I said, I don't like to compare Jordan to LeBron or all those. I think it's tough to do.
There goes your next question.
Yeah, you can't compare. What we've done back in the days to now. I think it's difficult. Of course, I like to think I was a good player. Yeah, but I would not say that. I would not say that I couldn't really pick anybody who would say he plays like me. That's no.
Well, I could definitely say it's one thing that's different is that they also have better coaching in the national team now. Yeah.
Thank you.
And on that note, let's take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Coach's Time Out with Nigel and Christophe, the podcast.
Welcome back, and we're almost at the end of this interesting interview with Coach Ken Diederich. But before we go to other questions, we have what we call the last 2 minutes question round. All right. So here's the thing, Ken. We're going to ask you 10 questions that you have to answer in 2 minutes, and then we can talk about or discuss your answers. All right. You ready?
Yes.
Coach Christophe, you ready with your timer?
Yeah.
2 minutes. All right. Ready? Go. Ken, favorite pro you played with or coached?
So far, it's got to be Billy McDaniel.
Billy McDaniel. If you were to choose EuroLeague coach or FIBA or NBA assistant coach?
Oh well, I think I would pick the NBA assistant coach because that's the NBA. I think is a different world.
All right, league winner or cup winner?
League winner.
League winner.
Yeah.
And most memorable win as a player?
Well, the '96 Cup final. We were the only team that won from Division 2, and that still stands.
All right. Toughest loss as a coach?
Well, the finals against T71 in 2016.
All right. Zone press or a 2-3 zone?
2-3.
Okay. Biggest coaching influence?
My father and a Belgian coach named Julian Marnegraaf.
All right. What's more important in a player to you, attitude or talent?
Well, you do need talent, So attitude is great, but if you don't have talent, it's difficult,
Lux GOAT.
Oh wow. So the best player, huh?
Mm-hmm.
That we ever had. Ooh, we just stop the timer. This is a difficult one. Oh wow, difficult question. So overall, I would say it's Tom Schumacher Schumi because of the longevity, because of his all of his titles, his wins in the national team. He was a big part of that 2016 win against Great Britain. So he's achieved everything possible, and he's been playing for 20 years. So my choice is Tom.
All right. And 3 coaching goals you want to achieve.
3 coaching what?
Goals that you still want to
Goals.
achieve. Yeah.
I want to qualify with the Luxembourg national team for the next round. So move on, and then I would like to coach abroad one day.
Mm-hmm.
And the last thing, third one, oh wow. Third one would be just improve my coaching every year, just getting better, just trying to improve from year to year.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Great.
All right. Made it on time, Christophe? A little over time.
Yeah, I think on the last question we had only the first of the 3 goals in the timing, but that was also a tough question.
We had like 3 questions there. That's correct. Or 3 answers. Okay, I know, Christophe, that you have something about Ken's first answer, Billy McDaniel. You were talking. You were talking to me about he also played with one really, really good American or pro back in the day. You were saying, I forgot the name that you mentioned.
Terry McCord.
Yeah, Terry, he's now, if you guys watched that game, so Terry, in my opinion, could play today. He was that good. He was a very, very talented player. Like, he looked like he could play in 2020 and 1996. So he was the most talented player, yes. But what Billy has to offer, not only on the basketball court, but also from his personality and from his attitude, I think it's going to be tough to beat.
Okay, you also mentioned the 96 Cup. And yeah, Christophe sent me that video, and you were rocking that Justin Timberlake kind of hair over there. And you mentioned that your dad was one of your biggest coaching influences, and that's something I actually did not know, that you played for your dad. Tell us a little bit about that experience, and how it shaped your coaching philosophy.
Well, first of all, to play for your dad is very difficult because you have to be the best at everything in order not to have your teammates be mad when you play a lot. So I had to make sure that I was uncontested, that I was there were no egos that thought that I just played because my dad was the coach. But I think my dad and I did a good job of eliminating that. So that was tough. And what I liked about him is he was always calm. He was always he was a calm coach. He was never maybe he wasn't the greatest X's and O's guys, but because back then he was just looking at 20, 21 years, 20 more, right? 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
So it was different, but he was just very composed and he was positive. And I had also negative coaches, and I always think that personally for me, I'd rather have a guy who's positive than somebody who yells at me, because I did not respond well to yelling and getting hit and negative coaches, So for me, for some people that works. For me, it didn't. So that was definitely the part I took away from my dad's coaching, that people want to play for you and they want to talk to you. And if they have problems, they can talk to their coach. So, yeah. The game was not. Go ahead. No, go ahead, Christophe. Yeah.
No, I had a follow-up question on one of the other questions. So.
Okay.
If that's okay. So you said that one of your coaching goals is to qualify Luxembourg for the Eurobasket, for example. Do you think you need one transcendently talented additional player, or do you think with the current group and 1 or 2 more professionals from the current ranks, that would be doable?
No, what I'm talking about is not the Eurobasket. I said the next round. I said to qualify for the next round would be for us now. If we would win the next 2 games in Kosovo, for example, we would move to qualify us for the Eurobasket. So those are the pre-qualifiers. So of course I would like to qualify for the Eurobasket, but I know that's very difficult. But to move up, I think that we have a chance with this group to qualify for the next round. And to get even better, we need more professionals. We need right now we have 4. Let's say we have 4 right now, and we need more. We need 12. We need 10. We need 12. That's why we need players to go abroad. I think that the football team showed a great example, because if you look at them, 15 years ago they were not winning. Okay, and now they have back then they had 2-3 professionals, and now they have, I believe, 16 professionals. They have 16 professionals, and that's the way to improve your team and to move to the next level. So I think that we are maxing it out with the national team right now. I said that before. I think beating England did not, to me, that was unbelievable. I think that beating Slovakia is unbelievable. But I think, for us to move on to the next level, to beat those teams constantly and to even beat better teams, we need a team of full professionals and also a coach. Maybe, we need a full professional coach. I think that I'm almost there, but, maybe I can get better as well.
Okay.
I didn't understand it that way. That's why I said about Eurobasket. But Iceland also qualified already for such an event. So
Yes.
I think it's not totally out of reach. I mean, if you have like one or two like players, additional players that are evolving on that level, I mean, everything is possible with some luck. And
If you look at the 2016 campaign, we beat Great Britain, okay, and we should have beaten Hungary, who won the quarterfinals of that Eurobasket that summer. And Great Britain did qualify for the Eurobasket, and we beat that team. So yes, if you have the right group and the right circumstances, yes, you can do it. But it gets more difficult because the FIBA wants the smaller countries to stay at home. You see, the same thing can be said in football, but they want to eliminate us, the smaller countries like Cyprus, Kosovo. Those teams are not really in their, how should I say this, in their end result.
I want to circle back to Great Britain, that game. I've heard you say that it was the greatest achievement in national team, or one of the best achievements for the national team.
It's not close.
How did it feel? Like you're playing at home in that win. How did that feel for you as a coach? Like, you have your crowd behind you. You have this team that's supposed to walk over you, and you're just, going toe to toe with them and then pulling out that win in that fashion. Like, how did it feel at the end for you?
I mean, by far the biggest achievement in Luxembourgish basketball history. There's no question about it. If you look at their roster, what players they had, they even had NBA guys on there, an NBA
Ben
coach.
Gordon in there, yeah.
That's Dan Clark from Spain. They had so many good players who played pro in France. They were much better, And we, with attitude and with a perfect game, we were able to beat them. And then to see that the fans came because we've gotten better every game. We sold out the Cork, and we were winning in front of 2,000 fans. And I think that it was by far also my greatest moment in Luxembourgish basketball. The championship or cup cannot compare to the international level, So, and then the same thing can be said for the Slovakia game. To winning on the road, to win in Slovakia, of course, the fans were not that was too bad, but to win there was unbelievable. It gives you an unbelievable feeling, and that's why the players are part of this, because it gives you a special feeling.
From my point of view, the recognition of these results in the national media, but also in the public, is way lower than if you win the national championship.
Yeah, I don't understand it. We were, when we won in 2016, we beat GB, Great Britain, and I thought we would be awarded the best teams award in Mondov. And the football team got it because they had a draw against Bulgaria. So at that point, I was like, okay, obviously we're not a basketball country. If this would happen somewhere else, our results are phenomenal. And that's not because I'm the coach, but because of the guys, If we beat Slovakia, and I have to read comments that Slovakia wasn't as good as they were 15 years ago. Like, what kind of comments are those? It just shows us that in Luxembourg, we are not a basketball community. That's the first thing. You can see it every day in the way clubs treat each other, that we are not a big unit. We don't help each other out that much, I think. And then on top of that, the game of basketball, the recognition is not there. We are a football country, and then we have probably the cyclists are very big. And then we'll see. I think that basketball is not one of our main concerns. And there's also a lot of journalists who are misinformed about the game or about the achievement and can't even estimate what we've done. For example, against Great Britain, I got an interview by TV and radio by BBC. Okay, BBC called me. I have a guy from England coming on Tuesday here to have an interview about the national team. Now this Tuesday. But in Luxembourg, I have not had anybody here from journalists to come home here and have an exclusive interview with me. So it's just, I think that we're doing a better job, the federation, with the new impulses. We do a lot more on social media. The gym was full against Kosovo, which was a great game as well. But the achievements are not, the recognition is not as big as it should be. It's getting better, but it's not there.
It's still lacking in a sense. And like you mentioned, maybe it's because Luxembourg is a football country and then cycling comes second. But, these kinds of triumphs, as far, as much as possible, should be celebrated, especially in such a small country. Like, have they ever considered, like, we are a country of 550,000 and we're beating Great Britain, we're beating Slovakia, and that's something that's different. Like,
of course, like that's everybody who lives sports and who has any idea about basketball understands that us beating, we have 200,000 passports in Luxembourg. We're beating Great Britain, who has 65 million. And basketball is getting bigger in Great Britain. They have really, really good players. If you look at their roster, it's a very, very talented team who played many Eurobaskets, Olympics, so yeah, I mean, it's too bad. Slovakia, I thought RTL did a nice job broadcasting the game. I thought it was a good broadcast. I thought they really said it well, what we did, but it's not football. If it's football, it'd be different. If it's football, they would have already now been named Team of the Year, and so it's to me, it's if we have four professionals beating 12 professionals is always a great achievement. I don't care, what people say or what people think. If you do your job and understand the game, you would recognize that, and that's why I get a lot of congratulations from Holland, from Germany, from wherever coaches writing me if we win those games, that they are amazed by how we play, and that gives me a lot of satisfaction, I have to say, if coaches write me and they tell me that this was unbelievable. So
I think it's well deserved, not just for you, but also for the team. And, like you said, it is an achievement and it's still continuing, So looking at that, do you think there's anything else that the league or the clubs can do differently to promote Luxembourg basketball better or more? Or is it really just we're doing what we can, and at the moment it's just not being...
We can do better. I think that Gringelwald, the girls, the women, they took a big step in the right direction. Playing the Euro Cup is something that we need to bring back. When I was playing, we always played the Euro Cup. Kovac Cup, it was named back then. So you play those games, and those games are putting you on the map. They make the players better. They give you a goal for the players. I think it's a great reward if you can play Euro Cup. Winning the championship is, I can tell you, it's okay, but it's after a while it's not that great anymore. It's fun, you achieve it, but it's afterwards. You buy the newspaper maybe on Monday, and that's about it. You don't get a cup. You don't get a lot of money to win the championship. But if you play the Euro Cup, you would have something to look forward to. Those are the games that players want to play, that coaches want to coach. I think every coach, Christophe or Nigel, you were there with the under-20s, so you got to witness a little bit the feeling to coach internationally, so it's different. So, and of course the Euro Cup, and to improve, I think that we should be able to stream those games. Like Christophe said, if you stream the games, it's gonna help us a big deal to promote our league. And then just promote basketball, try to get players abroad, all that stuff, like we mentioned before.
Well, any last parting questions, Christophe, before we let Coach Ken take his leave?
I just want to follow up on the one question about what you prefer. If you prefer to be a EuroLeague coach or NBA assistant coach, I just want to, from coach to coach, just like have a little bit more insight on this. Why do you think NBA assistant coach would be more challenging than the EuroLeague coach?
Because I was able to talk to this coach, Joe Pronti, and I went to Milwaukee and I got to see the facility, and just I think the NBA, the EuroLeague is, in my opinion, I prefer the EuroLeague as a league, as a basketball league. I like to watch the EuroLeague probably more than the NBA now. But I think that if you're a coach and in the NBA, it's gonna be super extra, super big. I think it's gonna be something that we've never seen before. Now, if you're a coach in Europe, I think that it can be very difficult. I think that the teams are not as far as the NBA teams are. I think that the league is the NBA is dominating the world in basketball. Everybody watches NBA and knows the players. So I think just to be part of something that big would be a very interesting experience. So that's the only reason. It's not really the basketball. It's more of the experience that
Okay.
Yeah. Would you do it different? What would you do?
Well, I would have said EuroLeague head coach because you're in the head coach role, and I agree on the whole thing on facilities and that the NBA is still and will by far be the strongest league in the world, but I would have chosen, however, the EuroLeague head coach role because you are the one who decides and who makes the team, and I would have chosen that.
I did think that it was both assistant jobs.
Okay.
So I did not. I was probably too ready to answer the question. I thought it was assistant EuroLeague or assistant NBA. So.
Well, Eric Spoelstra went from video guy to head coach, and your favorite team, Ken.
He actually played in Germany as a player, close to Cologne, I think, in the third league, Regionalliga.
Nice.
Yeah.
In Herten, no?
Herten, yes.
Yeah, I think in Herten, yeah.
Yes, because I know a guy who played with him. Brad Melton. I think he played over there. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Well, going into the February bubble, we know Luxembourg's gonna give everything that they can. Anything else that you want to say? I know we're gonna publish this online, Facebook, everywhere we can. Get the buzz going. Anything you want to say to basketball fans or basketball players watching right now from Luxembourg? Anything and message?
Just support us. Just watch the games. Just hopefully you can tune in and watch those games because we're gonna give it a go. We're gonna give it all we have, and we're gonna try to win another game, or hopefully too. We're gonna try to surprise maybe Iceland at the end. That's gonna be more difficult, but the Kosovo game is gonna be very difficult because we understand it's in Kosovo and they were missing 4 players last time. And I already know now that they have the American bag and their best player Berisha was injured. So Kosovo is going to be tough as well, but we're going to give it our best. We're going to play together. We're going to play fast. We're going to fight hard, and hopefully we can come back with another victory. That's going to be a lot of fun for us and hopefully for the guys at home as well.
All right. Well, we hope we can get to talk to you after that victory, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, so this is it. Thank you for joining us for the first episode of this podcast, and see you again next time with just a sneak preview. Next episode is going to be on a special team for National 1. There's a team episode, so watch out for that. All right, this has been Coach Nigel Tolentino and Coach Christophe Knight and Coach Ken Diederich, and wishing you all a pleasant afternoon. All right, thanks. And
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Coach's Time Out with Nigel and Christophe, the podcast.